For decades, the Southern Poverty Law Center built its legacy on bankrupting groups like the Ku Klux Klan in civil court. But today, the federal government has indicted that same legendary civil rights watchdog on an explosive charge, secretly funding the exact white supremacist groups it was founded to destroy. This diagram illustrates the core of the government's case. According to Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, the SPLC secretly funneled over $3 million to extremist organizations, including the American Nazi Party and the KKK. The Justice Department argues that instead of dismantling these hate groups, the SPLC was actually paying sources to stoke racial hatred, manufacturing the very extremism it publicly promised to fight. This leaves the country looking at two sharply dividing realities. Either a trusted nonprofit has been exposed for running a cynical corporate grift, or a politically motivated Justice Department is fabricating criminal charges to wipe out a vocal opponent. To find out what really happened, we have to look past the partisan outrage and examine the financial mechanics of the SPLC itself, because over the last several decades, fighting hate in America has become a highly lucrative industry. When the SPLC was founded in the early 1970s, it operated entirely differently. Led by activists like its first president, Julian Bond, the group spent its early years in the courtroom, filing lawsuits to dismantle the physical and legal remnants of Deep South segregation. But as overt systemic segregation faded, the organization shifted its strategy. Instead of purely litigating civil rights cases, the SPLC began tracking, mapping, and publicizing the movements of ideological extremist groups across the country. This chart shows the financial trajectory. By releasing annual Yearing Hate reports, the group built a massive fundraising engine. Donors poured in money, and by 2024, the nonprofit amassed an asset portfolio over $822 million. Long before the current Justice Department got involved, progressive critics pointed out the flaws in this setup. Writers and former employees accused the leadership of hoarding donor money, paying executives massive salaries, and deliberately exaggerating the threat of homegrown extremism to scare liberals into opening their wallets. This created a structural vulnerability in their business model. To keep the donations flowing, the SPLC had to consistently prove that the threat of hate was expanding. That meant the organization developed an endless institutional hunger for fresh, shocking intelligence from inside these violent groups. To gather that intelligence and constantly update their hate map, the SPLC built a clandestine network. They began secretly paying informants who were operating deep inside violent extremist organizations. This ledger outlines the financial evidence. The SPLC paid over $1 million to an informant to steal internal documents from the National Alliance. They also paid over $270,000 to a Charlottesville rally planner and $19,000 to a convicted crossburner. The SPLC defends these payments, pointing out that relying on confidential informants is a standard FBI strategy to gather intelligence and save lives. The Justice Department, however, argues that crossing the line into secretly paying known criminals constitutes wire fraud and money laundering. Meanwhile, the SPLC continuously expanded its definition of hate, adding mainstream conservative organizations like Turning Point USA to its published hate list. By aggressively targeting these entities, the SPLC alienated powerful political figures and created deep-pocketed enemies. By blurring the line between passively observing extremist groups and actively sustaining their members with covert financial payouts, the SPLC handed those political enemies the exact paper trail needed to take them down in federal court. Now, those conservative enemies have returned to power under the Trump administration, and they are actively using their authority to dismantle the organization's influence. FBI Director Kash Patel recently announced he was severing all federal ties with the group, calling it a partisan smear machine. At the same time, high-profile allies like Elon Musk have publicly accused the SPLC of inciting violence against conservative activists. In response, the SPLC's leadership frames this indictment as pure political intimidation. They argue the government is intentionally criminalizing standard civil rights intelligence gathering just to crush a vocal opponent of the administration. That defense carries weight when you look at the administration's recent track record. The Justice Department has repeatedly tried and failed to build winning criminal cases against other prominent political adversaries, like New York Attorney General Letitia James. The stakes of this trial cut both ways. If the Justice Department's charges stick, it confirms the public's darkest suspicions, that a historic civil rights group evolved into a bloated corporation, financially nurturing the exact hatred it promised to eradicate. Conversely, if the government succeeds in prosecuting a nonprofit for using the exact same informant tactics relied on by federal law enforcement, it sets a chilling legal precedent. It sends a massive warning shot that any organization opposing the administration can be dismantled through federal racketeering charges. Ultimately, the trial of the SPLC is a battle over who gets the authority to define hate in America, and a cautionary tale of what happens when fighting extremism becomes a billion-dollar industry.